All right. That little live red button means that we are live, which means that Into the Lab, Season 2, Episode 48, is exactly what the title reads. All football tonight. That's right. I am your host, Ernest Silva, hopefully the host with the most and your favorite. We appreciate you guys joining us, all 0 of you so far, but we definitely assume there's going to be a lot more on this cast later on throughout the episode. This is brought to you by the Mothership Blue Collar Media Group. I think that's on my left, and it is. And we're excited to have a lot of guests tonight, as well as some of the return normals. You know what, guys? I'll just have the announcer bring us in right. Thank you, Mr. Announcer. And if you heard that wonderful voice, you're going a little crazy. We don't have a voice live, but we do have it on the podcast, which you'll get after today. You'll get it tomorrow. But let's start off right. That's right. The man in Bali, Indonesia, facing the storm of COVID. That's right. At Dre21225 on Instagram. Dre Rogers.
Hey fellas, good morning. I sustained a small injury with my playing guitar hand, and I'll be a little handicapped today, and I'm on time anyway, so.
I'm glad you're here on time, Dre. I'm sorry I didn't get you the link fast enough, or you would have really been on time, so I apologize for that. I was going to say it's a really nice setup, Dre. Are you in a hotel room?
No, I'm actually in the balcony. I had a Lonely Island featuring Akon song, so I've got to be near the bedroom, if you know what I mean.
Dre enjoying his morning better than anybody else. Another man that you know that's on your screen, Andrew Con Sutton. What's going on, brother?
Well, this hat fits mightily well with what Dre just said, the little foreplay there. So well done there, man. Good to be back on ITL, guys. I'm MIA for a little couple weeks, getting busy with this retreat and work and everything. So as soon as I heard that we're talking football, let's do this shit tonight, boys.
Very excited to have you on. You might have seen him last week give his brand new takes, but that's right. I'm not going to say his last name. Kev is back. What's up, Bad Big Hero, Kev?
Yeah, that's DeSarmo, by the way, how you pronounce that.
That's it.
Yeah. Sorry. I don't have any cool injuries like Dre to talk about. Nothing fancy going on there for me, unfortunately. But yeah, good afternoon, good evening, guys.
That's all right, Kev. We have the good old boys joining us today. That is right, our favorite guest. Don't tell anybody else. That's right, Derek. We're going to start with you. What's going on, man?
Oh, not much. How y'all doing? It's always a pleasure when we get to stop by here on Into the Lab and hang out with you and hang out with some of the rest of the blue collar media guys. An absolute blast and a pleasure every time that we get to stop by. So thanks for having us on.
Absolutely. And of course, we have your counterpart here, the man, the myth, the legend. That's right. That is Alex. Alex, what's going on, bud?
Hey, boys. Thanks for having us on. The 2/3 of the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast on tonight. The third is dealing with internet issues, which if you've watched a few of our episodes in the past or have listened to the podcast that we put out every week, this has been a recurring theme over the last several months for the Good Old Boys. And that is we need better internet service providers. So you got 2/3 of us, and I think it was the words of the great Meatloaf that said 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
I'll tell you what, in the middle of your conversation there, you cut out, which is perfect because
even better, even damn better.
With what you were saying.
God damn internet!
You said with our internet, we need to get better internet. I thought that's spot on. If you didn't do it on purpose, that's spot on. All right, guys, we have a fun-filled episode. It's all football. We were going to do some summer league action, but then we found out that I was the only one that watched it. So we're going to go straight with football. So if you have any basketball interest, I'm sorry. We're going straight football today. We do have Kenny coming on just to say Andrew's been a bit forward with that hat. I got to admit, that's probably why he left. Wait, nope, he's coming back. But we're going to jump right into it. Shout out to Reigning Rana, one of our BCMG stream team members and captain. We're excited to have you on here. Angela's out there supporting the group. All right, guys. So let's jump into some round one action. The sweetest voice of ITO will be joining us, but she is not here yet. So I'll say it myself. This episode is brought to you by Taquito Express down in the beautiful Brownsville, Texas. That's right, Dre's favorite. He wishes he was coming next weekend because we're all going to be there next week, and everybody at BCMG is going to be there. We're excited. But let's go. Let's ring the bell, and let's start off round one. That's the bell. And if you heard that live, I seriously suggest checking in with the doctor. We don't have one live, but we will start off with some of those latest headlines. And it's right. NFL's taking over. Hall of Fame game, Dallas, Pittsburgh got things started. Training camps going on. Hard Knocks last night. It is all football besides Jalen Green. But we're not talking Summer League basketball, guys. Stop. That is right. Some of the latest headlines we're going to start off with is the Carson Wentz debate. Carson Wentz came out and said, I am ready to play week 1. Just watch me. And I'm thinking personally, this is because Sam Ehlinger just looked phenomenal last week. I mean, he's just so intimidated. Guy is soft, in my opinion. So I'm gonna let you guys ring in this one. Is Wentz playing week 1?
No.
Whoever wants to take it.
No. Carson Wentz will not play week 1, and I'll tell you why. He broke his fucking foot. There's no way in hell this guy is going to battle back with a couple cortisone shots and be anything what they paid for him to be. I'm telling you, Indy has a lot invested in bringing Carson Wentz into this organization, and for the betterment of this organization, he does not play week 1. Sit him out. You've signed all of your stud linebackers. You rely on your defense. You rely on Ehlinger. But right now, Carson Wentz does not see the football field until week 3, week 4.
Okay, I'm going to take issue here. First off, full disclosure, Carson Wentz is my guy. I spent 6 years in North Dakota. I got to cover the guy. I got to talk with him and watch his career blossom from a senior in college into the NFL. And this hashtag soft business, have any of you spent any amount of time in North Dakota? No. Okay.
Minnesota.
No, Texas.
All right. Minnesota. Okay. All right. I'll give you that. What part of Minnesota?
Oh, I'm northern. Yeah.
Okay. Northern
Brainerd.
Minnesota. All right. So if you know anything about the wintertime, it gets brutally cold up there.
Oh, tell me
Carson
about
Wentz
it.
is not soft. He is not soft. He is not intimidated by Sam Ehlinger. I don't know that he plays week 1 because it is a foot injury, and those are tough to come back from. But there was a picture of Carson Wentz out on the practice field the other day, earlier this week maybe, not even in a boot. So as cautious as we might want to be with Carson Wentz, and as cautious as the Colts may want to be with Carson Wentz, the guy's a gamer. He goes out and he plays. That's what he does. And if he's healthy enough to play week 1, we saw him play behind the worst offensive line in probably the history, with dudes that they were pulling off the street as receivers in his final 2 years in Philadelphia, and he still went out there and balled out.
So when you look at it too, right? Like there's some things to be considered in there as well, right? Like if you look at it, the typical timeline for this injury is about 5 to 12 weeks is everything that we've been reported on and looking at. And right there, week 5 lines up with week 1 of it. So, there is still a possibility, depending upon how that rehab goes and how those things look at, that he and Quentin Nelson could both be there week 1 and not be outside of the normal time frame and timetable for this injury. Now, that being said, I think that if the Colts are smart, and they're an organization that typically does things for a longer play than necessarily right now, I think that if those guys are ready to go and the doctors are fully clearing them, they'll be out there and they're ready to go, because both of those guys are guys that want to play and put a lot of heart and energy and soul into this game. But at the same time, if they're not at 100%, I think you could see it where they pull them for, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and whatever that looks like. And they're going to do what's going to be in both the best interest of the player and the best interest of the long-term success of that organization, because both of those guys dealing with that same injury are crucial for their long-term plans in Indianapolis.
Since we're talking about Indy, before I get the next person's take on Carson Wentz, who is the backup quarterback?
Isn't Jacob Eason the guy with Sam Ehlinger being the third string?
Yeah.
It's East, yeah.
Is he through training camp? Have you guys seen it?
Mm-hmm.
Eason's been the guy taking first string
Yeah.
reps. They've been subbing in Ehlinger there. And even though that both of those guys have done some good things, there's still a marked drop off between what Carson Wentz provides and what the next closest guy is able to do. And that offense is not going to run the same, putting either Eason or Ehlinger out there, because it is a big step down from Carson Wentz and what that potential is with him under center.
I would say they're in the situation of the same thing the Cowboys were in last year when Prescott gets hurt, and then you have Ben DiNucci out of fucking nowhere. I mean, it's the same situation. Like I said, I'm not slapping on Wentz at all. I'm just saying at this particular moment, I think you've invested a lot into this character that we know has injury history. And I'm not saying he's soft at all. I'm from Saskatchewan. It's -40 out here sometimes, man. I get how damn cold North Dakota is because it's an 8-hour drive down the road. But I'm just saying, realistically, they need to really be patient, especially with a foot injury, because you don't want this to be an AJ Green situation who had, horrible foot injuries for the rest of his career because he kept trying to rush coming back. So
I'll add one other thing to this, and that is you cannot win the season in week 1.
No,
but you damn sure can derail it. So maybe they do hold it off. Maybe they play a little bit more, allow him to heal a little bit more. But I'd still think, if he's ready to go, he's going to play.
For sure.
The other thing too to consider there is it's a conditional pick that's going to Philadelphia. So, for that purpose as well, Indy's under no real rush to try and get these guys back there. And so again, I believe that it's going to be that we'll see those guys when they're at 100% and not before that, because if their record is worse, it becomes a second, third round type of pick that you're sending back there.
Now, when we talk about Carson Wentz and his injury history, right? I mean, you can't dictate what happens to the body, but mentally, you come off a season where you've been traded to Indy and you want to make the impression you want, and immediately starts with an injury and you start off behind. It does something for reps, right? Does this change your value for Wentz going into the season on where you would rank him when he's back?
No, because my projections of him are only playing 14, 15 games.
I guess that's safe. So you don't have him QB2, or do you have him in the QB2 realm in your rankings?
QB2 realm was probably right.
I've got him low QB1, QB2, flirting that line.
He has so many weapons on that offense, right? Like, I mean, he's really going to do okay with that system.
And a good line in front of him.
Exactly. Something he's never had. So.
And a running game.
Right.
Gotcha. Now we want to welcome the General Steve Reisner. Welcome, Steve. How's it going, bud?
I'm still alive. I'm here.
Holy Jesus. Delayed reaction.
I wasn't going to come on, and then I just kept seeing all these, just horrible Twitter takes. And, I needed to have a vent session because, I think people are getting dumber, dude. It's a real problem in society.
We'll get to Triple T's with Steve later. Let's switch our focus to Dallas. And Dallas, oh, yeah, go ahead, Dre. We're wrapping up with you.
I want to hear over-under that the Colts bring Phillip Rivers by the end of the season.
Under.
Over.
Never happening.
Over.
I mean, it's a non-existent for me. I don't think
it won't happen.
Yeah. I think if Carson Wentz is seriously, I'm just saying this off the map. If he is that injured, I could see them putting him back in here. And he's already said, Rivers did say, I will come off retirement if the right team is in a winning position. So don't take that. I think they would make a quick call to him. Just be like, hey, you played in this organization. You played with these same guys. Our offense. I wouldn't be too doubtful on him coming back.
I really don't know, though, because I think Indy saw what Rivers has, or even at this point had left.
He balled out for them last year.
He probably isn't even going to be as good as he was last year, and he wasn't that good last year. What he was able to do, I noticed, was that patented Phillip Rivers thing where, he gets the ball late with a chance to, tie and take the lead, and he just throws a pick.
So the other thing to keep in mind there too is, right, when you listen to Phillip Rivers talk about when he said he was going to come back and that kind of stuff, he was gearing up for a mid-season back half of the season type of deal because he's doing his coaching thing and that kind of stuff now. And that's why I'm taking the under on this one, is the simple fact that they should have Carson Wentz back before you're going to see Phillip Rivers, ready to pull the trigger on that one. So I'm under on that one by a long shot. I don't think Phillip Rivers comes back to the Colts.
It is more likely that Phillip Rivers has another kid before he comes back to play.
Stop it. He's got an army already.
Dude, he's probably having a kid right now, like as you say that. So, like,
Yeah, definitely twins. All right, let's move over to Dallas. Dak Prescott, the injury seems to be such a mystery down there in Big D. Dak Prescott had a minor shoulder injury. Then leaks and rumors came out that the Dallas Cowboys were asking the Texas Rangers on some soft tissue injury requests on how to rehab that, even as early as last week, as late as this week. And then now the report comes out that a second MRI is being done next week. Guys, is the Dak injury more than what it seems?
No.
I would agree. I don't know. I would say so. Maybe seems like when there's always these big injuries with these players early in the season like this, you hear all these small reports and you hear them try to downplay it, and then turns out week 1 he's not playing. I think it's a little alarming. I'm a big Dak Prescott fan too. I had him very high this year, and I don't think Cowboys are that organization where they're just gonna sugarcoat it and then, oh, he's playing, like, we got you, we surprised you. It doesn't seem like that.
So I mean,
I'm alarmed by the fact that they reached out to a baseball team for one with like for tips.
Well,
I know you get the baseball players like get those injuries more, but like, dude, you're a fucking football medical staff. You, the very least, you shouldn't be getting it leaked out that you have to call someone and ask for help on how to treat your quarterback, and you just paid what fucking $40-something million a year to.
I agree with you in an aspect, but I also agree that if there's a better professional help and you got some assistance at your disposal, why wouldn't you use it? I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, I think this is just one of those things where Dallas media, of course, because we have nothing else to talk about except for Dak Prescott at teams. It's just like everybody constantly with this guy. I don't know if you guys have been watching the Hard Knocks, and I know we're getting into that part, but if Garrett Gilbert's starting week 1, from what I've seen in training camp so far, man, don't care. Like, honestly, he played really well when he came into the situation against Pittsburgh. I thought he played a great game. I thought they pulled a little quickly on him, but from Hard Knocks camps, he looked great. But listen, Dak Prescott, yeah, I would say mildly concerned should be the terminology used. But I think Dak is a baller. He's going to be in there just as Carson Wentz is saying. He wants to be there week 1. I guarantee Dak Prescott is 100% going to be there week 1.
So, but you did just praise Garrett Gilbert.
Yeah,
I said it's a good option. No,
we have to touch that. This is the only show ever put on the air anywhere where you can hear praise for Garrett Gilbert.
I just said after watching Hard Knocks the last and even watching the preseason game when he was in there, he had a couple good drives. Like, I am more confident in him than Ben DiNucci. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, well, that's not saying much.
Hold on. I want to go down the rabbit hole. Garrett Gilbert starts week 1, quarterback ranking, week 1.
Well, I ain't gonna be strong, but he still has weapons. Like, I think you guys are forgetting that. Like,
so did Ben DiNucci.
I think he's going to be below whoever's the Patriots' backup.
Week 1 ranking 28.
Confidently can throw a football.
That's fair. I have him QB3 also. So, okay.
Dude, week 1 ranking, like I have him below Mac Jones, and I don't even think Mac Jones will be starting week 1.
Guys, I'll float it out to the rest of the group. Anybody else worried about Dak at all, or is this everybody just saying, nah, just wait it out?
It's from everything that's being reported, it's a shoulder strain, where shoulder strains tend to heal themselves. And, it's one of those that if they're reaching out to a baseball team, right, like you're talking, all right, like you think about it for the most part, if a quarterback's throwing the ball over the course of the season, you're talking heavy workload, 600 passing attempts in game type of thing, right? Versus a baseball team is what a pitcher will easily hit, 600 pitches in a month. Type of thing in actual gameplay situations. So somebody made the point a little bit ago that if there's other professional organizations out there that deal with these injuries a lot more frequently. So it makes sense that they may reach out there and see if there's some rehab type of things that they can do there. The MRI.
It does make sense. I just wouldn't let it leak.
But yes, letting it
That's-
leak is
that's
a
the-
different
you
deal.
can't let that get out. You
In
can't
today's world,
let
fucking
that get
everything
out.
leaks.
But
Also, there's gamesmanship at play here,
That's
right?
true.
Right.
It's the Cowboys.
There's gamesmanship. You're gonna make it seem like, oh, maybe we won't have Dak Prescott ready.
Right.
Everything is done with a purpose, and if I know anything about the Cowboys, everything is done with a purpose.
For sure.
That's how Jerry Jones operates. Everything is done with a purpose.
and don't
I
they
will say
open up
this.
against Tampa Bay week 1?
Yes, and I will say this:
That
a
is
report that literally just dropped on CBS. He was seen throwing the football around. So maybe this
Yeah.
is much to do about nothing.
Yeah.
I see a
And
report on
well-
ESPN right now that says he's eyeing a full return next week against the Texans.
He'll be there.
See,
Well, there
the
we
other thing
go.
is
There we go.
Yeah.
if they're being cautious or like even if they're being overly cautious about a shoulder injury, like you can't really blame them. You don't heal a shoulder right as a quarterback, you're fucked forever. Like, can you guys see this? How I'm just
What was
popped
the
in and
over
out.
under on the Steve Arm thing?
You don't want that to be happening like when you're throwing a football. You know, your arm just like comes in and out of place like that.
You fell off a
That's
fucking
what happens
scooter.
with my shoulder. Huh? Yeah, no, that's an old injury.
Steve, show the injury. I'm intrigued too.
What, my brace?
Yeah.
You sound like
The
a
Gronk-
devastated
the Gronk
non-bet.
brace. Look at that thing.
This is why the
I don't
general's
know if
been
you can
out.
see it or not.
6 shots to the arm for Steve.
What do we got?
Front lines the
Steve,
dog.
it's good to see that you're not on the pup.
Yep, he's back on.
I-
You know what?
Oh, I am on the pup. I can't work.
That is true. But you're back on ITL.
I am literally on the physically unable to perform list.
Yep. And that is one mention for Steve. I am excited though to have you back, Steve. I'll be honest with you. I think we're gonna roll on with this. Let me get some highlights here. One of our sponsors of the stream team, Wayne. Glad to have you on here, as well as Xtina, one of the Gamer Squad members. Appreciate the love, and of course another stream team member, Eternal Wave. Appreciate the love, guys. Let's move on. Let's talk some Broncos, right? Or at least that's where I think it's going to happen. Where does Aaron Rodgers end up, guys? This is a big carousel. He finally got his final season in the books, right? So he's going to get to choose where to go. Who's a team that markets the most? I know this is way far in advance, but if we had to say it today, I'm choosing the Broncos, and I'll let the Smees on that talk in a minute. Steve, you got one chance. Where does Rodgers end up?
Oh, it's Denver. I already knew that right when he already known that. He's going to Denver. Denver's going to do that thing where they just luck into an all-time great quarterback falling into them because Denver can't draft a quarterback.
It happens one
They
time.
seem to be able to draft everything else. They can't draft a quarterback, but they can sign free agent quarterbacks. They've drafted everything else on that team great.
If
What'd you
it
say?
happens, if it happens once, it happens forever, guys. That's the
Okay.
first takeaway. And John Elway was traded to Denver too. I'm just gonna put that out there that Steve has the insight. It's Steve Schefter that we have. Derek, what about you? What do you think? Where does Aaron Rodgers end up?
My
Where do you
fandom
guys
here
think
is
Schefter gets
clouding
all his
my.
information from?
Oh, my fandom clouds my judgment on this one, but I am a Denver Broncos fan. That's the hometown team, and that's where I'm going to say as well, just because I'm going to try and will that into existence.
All right, Alex, going to you.
Yeah, I share the same sentiment as Derek. I actually, even on draft night, was calling it like, hey, the Broncos drafted Surtain to give to Green Bay so that we can get Aaron Rodgers here. But I
was
think
expecting it on draft night.
a dark horse candidate for where Rodgers ends up next year, Las Vegas.
Ooh, okay, that's interesting. Let's keep that take real quick. Let me see if anybody has it. Dre says he liked that too. Dre, were you gonna say
That was
Vegas?
my second team.
That was my pick actually. He will end up in Vegas. I mean the other alternate scenario is that because he has given Green Bay so much or whatever that he allows for a sign and trade and he goes to the 49ers. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be Vegas. So
Interesting. Andrew, going to you.
Yeah, I like the Vegas take just because Devontae Adams seems like he really wants to go there too. But that was more so for the Derek Carr reunion in case that Aaron Rodgers wasn't coming back. But ultimately, I don't think. Here's my hot take. I don't think he comes back. I think this is the Aaron Rodgers farewell tour. You got him pissed off. He took that 1-year contract. He got exactly what he wanted. It's basically balls out. Devontae Adams is staying for 1 more year. Aaron Jones is back. I feel like this is his squad. He's got Robert Tonyan. He's got his weapons. He knows the offense. This is his sail out last season. I think where he ends up is the retirement list. And then Canton.
Yep. The ceiling is an NFC championship loss, as always.
Oh my gosh.
He has a Super Bowl to his name.
Kev, wrap us up on this one.
Okay, I want to say something that might surprise you guys. Miami Dolphins, just because they have a lot of trade capital with a lot of picks they've gathered. It's a place where Jamal can go or Devontae can go, and you pull the whole Tom Brady thing, right? Go to Florida, get in the nice weather, be on the beach.
Just the opposite place. I like it.
Yeah,
What?
yeah, exactly.
It's one of those two that now leaves it open so that Miami's got the year to figure out what they're going to do with Tua. So you could be onto something there.
Tua could be involved in the trade too. Who knows? Maybe they decided to move on from Tua, but I do like him going to Florida. I think in terms of trade value, in terms of what they can trade, they have a lot to offer. And yeah.
If Watson gets cleared, does a Houston make sense to you if Deshaun gets traded to Miami or Green Bay and Houston opens up? Does Aaron even intrigued by Houston?
No.
Who's he going to throw to there?
What O-line? What player?
Yeah, and O-line. Yeah.
Kenny Stills? Who does he have there anymore?
Brandon Cooks.
Brandon Cooks.
Yeah,
What world are we living in? I've heard Garrett Gilbert praise, and would a star quarterback be interested in Houston?
That's the last. That's the last line I'm leaving for that debate. Let's talk about each conference, guys. A way too early prediction. Who is your favorite? Just one-word answers. AFC, NFC for each. I'm gonna start with you, Derek. Who is the favorite in the AFC right now?
Put me on the spot there. You know what? I really like what this Colts team is set up to do, and that's where I'm going with this one. I think that we'll see the Colts end up pulling that one out.
And in the NFC,
got to go with the Bucs again. They brought back every starter.
Colts, Bucs is the pick there. Going to you, Drake.
I actually like the Chargers a lot. I think they're healthy. I think they've got finally a good offense going on, and that defense is, everybody's back. Joey Bosa is healthy. Darwin James is healthy. So I really like the Chargers.
Got it.
And NFC, I have no clue. I guess maybe the Niners. They're always a more complete team than anybody else. They've got, depth at every single position, and hopefully they don't even have to pass the ball because, whoever they plug in at running back gets 100+ yards. So they just play Niner football. So it doesn't really matter if it's Garoppolo or the rookie or whatever. So, yeah.
Alex, going to you.
I really like the Colts, and I think low-hanging fruit is the Chiefs. So I won't take low-hanging fruit, but I will go with the Buffalo Bills out of the AFC. And in the NFC, it's hard to argue against. It is hard to argue against Tom Brady and the Bucs. So I will go with the Lions. I'm kidding. It's the Bucs.
Poor Jared Goff.
I got shocked there for a minute. I had to think, okay, what's his angle? What does he know? Kevin, what about you?
In the AFC, I really like the Bills. I think Josh Allen's kind of arrived with having Diggs there at a wideout. The defense is good enough to get it done in the AFC. Yeah, I like the Bills. And then the NFC, I don't want to bet against the Bucs, but maybe not pissed off Rodgers, but someone who has to prove something, going on a tear. I mean, they were just some bad calls away from winning the NFC Championship last year. It wasn't like Rodgers shit the bag or anything. It was just a bad call on the Flores part. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think we can write off the, just give it to the Tampa Bay, That's
All right. He's going Bills Packers. Andrew, let's hear it.
NFC, I already gave a shout out to it, but I think the pissed off Aaron Rodgers tour is on board here. Again, if he wants to play with any other organization, he's going to have to go all out this year, especially after all this stuff. But in the AFC, boys, I really like the Cleveland Browns. I don't think they had a bad season last year. Defensively, they just got better by adding Jadeveon Clowney. So now you've got Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney on the rush edge, which is the scary combination if Jadeveon can stay healthy, of course. But that defense last year balled out, and they were very close to beating a Kansas City team. So I think the Browns, with OBJ healthy again this year, I think you'll see him have a good bounce-back year. Jarvis Landry, of course, is a threat. I like this team, man. I really do.
All right, Steve, let's hear it. Who is the AFC favorite? Who is the NFC favorite?
Fortunately, the AFC favorite it's Kansas City. Right now, they were already the best team in the AFC. They have now maybe one of the best offensive lines in football.
Lost a couple pieces, though.
Is really their biggest problem. And NFC, it's Tampa. I mean, this whole Rodgers revenge tour, man. I don't buy into it, because like everyone says, Brady was choking away the game last year in the NFC Championship, but he handed Rodgers the ball 3 times, and Rodgers did nothing with it. So I don't buy into this revenge tour, because I've seen this dude fall short in the playoffs way too many times.
Actually, that's kind of an interesting thought with the Rodgers revenge tour thing, because didn't we already see the Rodgers revenge tour last year that led him to an MVP season?
You would think.
Yeah, you could see. I mean, yeah, realistically, that's
but in that championship game, it wasn't Rodgers that gave it up. It
The
was that
officiating
bad field.
Yeah,
I'd say it was that going for the field goal and giving Tom Brady.
Okay,
the ball
how's
back.
this? Rodgers is pretty good at running the football around, right? Well, on third down, they shouldn't have kicked that field goal. They should have gone for it. But on third down, he had a clear path to run for the goal.
Yeah,
it was a
They
bad
could have
coaching
either brought it
decision.
down 1, or he could have scored the touchdown to tie it. And he didn't do that. But
That also
Sorry.
comes down to coaching. It's the age-old question is, why did Marshawn Lynch get the ball? It's one of those coaching decisions that was just made, and it wasn't the right call.
Yep. I just need to know your pick. Steve, who wins the AFC East?
it's New England.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page.
We took a year off. We let Buffalo win it. Fucking settle down, everybody.
We're secretly not talking about the Cam Newton revenge tour.
I mean, maybe that should be a topic for tonight. I actually want to.
No, we're keeping that low, because I really like the DraftKings odds on certain things with him right now. So we ain't making those go down.
Yeah, this is getting recorded, so we don't want anybody to know about this one. So keep it hush. Keep it hush. But that's because Mac Jones is playing quarterback, right? Not Cam Newton.
Oh, I don't know yet. Honestly, everything coming out of training camp, Newton apparently looks a lot better than he did last year. And all the videos I'm seeing, he does.
Yeah, I was going to say Belichick has been pumping his tires the last couple weeks, to be honest.
Fair enough. So Chiefs,
But
Bucks.
Mac is completing 67% of his passes against the starting D in the last 4 practices. So
It's pretty damn good.
Is that more on the D though?
That's Gilmore and all them he's lining up against then, hey?
the Gilmore signing is not done yet. They got to get that done.
yeah, they got to finish
That
that.
should be done soon.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna give you it's Chiefs Bucks for me, which would be the low hanging fruit, like Alex was saying. So let me give you my dark horse, because I think that's kind of a redundant question. I didn't ask you guys that, so I guess that's not fair. But my dark horse would be a Browns Cards matchup. That's what I would really like to see. Something different. But you can't get what you want, right? So we'll probably end up seeing Brady or Mahomes in the Super Bowl against whoever else. But I am looking forward to that Chiefs-Patriots rematch in the AFC Championship, like Steve is predicting. So can't wait to watch that. Let's move on to some of our other debates here. Dalton Fields. We talked about it last week. Fields keeps getting more momentum. We have some Dalton truthers on here, and we have some Field believers. So, guys, where do you match? Who's starting week 1 for Chicago? Is it Andy Dalton or is it Fields?
If it's Matt Nagy, head coach, it's probably going to be Dalton, right? He's proven in the last several years that he's going to start the guy that they just picked up in the offseason, the veteran, like they did with Nick Foles. And I don't think Glennon ever started, but yeah, I mean, it'll be Dalton and then Fields, probably week 5 or week 4. If Dalton goes 2-2, like, what do you do, right? It'll be Dalton.
I mean, the name of your show, Kevin, is On the Field. You just got to add an S, and then you change yourself to a Bears fan, and then all of a sudden, you got the leading podcast in Chicago. I'm just saying, it's an interesting take. Just think about that as you provide your stance. If you guys have been watching Fields on the training camp or on the field, literally Kevin's show. But he looks impressive. I had to go look up the actual clips because I mean, who follows Chicago training camp? But he doesn't look terrible, and we got to see a heavy dose of Andy Dalton last year. So if I'm Chicago, and like Kevin's saying, you start off 0-2, I wouldn't mind making the switch early. Just with that defense, you don't want to miss an opportunity, especially on the legacy of some of your players like Khalil Mack. Any other takes on the Fields debate? It's kind of slow, so yeah, go ahead, Dre.
Yeah, I don't think it really matters who's starting because the Bears are starting the season 0-6. I mean, what about the Dolphins, the Bills, the Titans, the Rams, the Bengals, and the Browns? So it doesn't.
It might be
really
the
matter.
Bengals. They might be the Bengals.
They have the Bengals and the Lions in the first 2 weeks.
Write it down. 0-6.
So they start off.
It's going to be Dalton, then it's going to be Fields, and then Foles is going to make an appearance.
Oh dear God!
No, I see the Rams starting off 2-2 because they'll lose against the Rams week 1. They'll beat the Bengals week 2. They play the Browns. It's a loss. Lions they'll beat. So they're starting off the season 2-2. Is kind of how I see that. I think you'll see Dalton on the field, and I think they probably start making that switch over towards about kind of that bye week is usually where you start seeing those QBs come in there if they're not named starter week 1. And a lot of that, I think they're going to try and learn from the mistakes that they made with Trubisky, where they took a guy with incredibly high capital. They threw him out there week 1, really wasn't prepared. They asked him to do more than what really a lot of rookies are able to rock and roll with. And while Justin Fields has a very special skill set and they can design an offense package around him that is going to be dynamic and electric, I think they're going to let him accommodate to the speed of the game a little bit more so. And so they'll hold him back a little bit.
I also think that, during the offseason when they signed Andy Dalton, the very first comment that was asked by absolutely everybody in Chicago media is, hey, is this our starter? And the response all year long so far has been, he's our starter. So for me, that just tells me that Andy Dalton is for sure going to be taking first-team reps. He's going to be starting the season off. You don't pay a guy $12 million to just come in and fumble around. I mean, that's just not – I mean, again, we saw Andy Dalton in a good chunk last year. He wasn't great. There was times where he wasn't bad, but he can still get the ball down the field. So, I mean, ultimately with this Bears team, they have a good run game. Allen Robinson's still a threat. Komet looked like he was coming into his own at the end of the year. It's going to be interesting, but Fields will probably be the starter by week 3 or 4. I agree with a lot of you guys here.
First off, your comment about you don't pay a guy $12 million to go and fumble around. Zeke Elliott would like to have a word with you.
Wow.
Secondly,
in my office. That's true. That is true.
Secondly,
I think we're going to learn more than $12 million.
Yeah, we're gonna learn a lot in their preseason games, and I think if this was a question that you asked me in maybe 2 weeks, we'd have a lot better answer. But that's not what the game is. So, I would say that I think I would hate to see Justin Fields go in before week 7, really before week 8 or 9. So the bye week is if they're not going to do it, if they're not going to do it after week 2. They have to wait until after week 10 because
the Tua thing.
It is imperative because that schedule after week 5 is Green Bay, Tampa Bay, San Francisco, Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
Good
you're not
luck.
throwing him into the Wolves.
Yeah, you can't put him in there. So you just drop in Foles for that time and then
Yeah,
switch over
yeah.
to switch over. For some reason, that guy plays well against great teams, and then he's just gone the rest
A
of the time.
bomb against shit teams, yeah.
All right, guys, let's switch gears. Let's talk Hall of Fame because that's fresh in our minds. Fantastic Hall of Fame this year, but we got some eligibility questions coming up. 2 names in particular. Any debate, DeMarcus Ware is a Hall of Famer?
In.
Yeah, he's in. I don't.
No.
How
First-
can you guys shake your
First
heads and
ballot,
say,
I don't know,
no?
but he is in.
He's in for me. Good old boys. You guys
I'm
seem skeptical.
flabbergasted that you guys shook your heads on this. The guy's the leading sack
no,
guy for the Cowboys and hasn't played in our organization for 9 years.
Well, that might speak more to the Cowboys than
Yeah,
it
that
does
might-
to
We haven't had
He's more of a Cowboys bud.
rush edges, but
He got his ring in Denver, though.
he did get
Yes.
the ring.
So and the only reason why I'm really hesitant is because I haven't compared him statistically. So I truthfully do not have an answer. Gut feeling, probably yeah.
Yeah, I think that he probably does get in. Keep in mind, a lot of like my memory when I think back to DeMarcus Ware was those last couple of years in Denver where he wasn't that dominant player that he was down in Dallas to it. So I've got some of that kind of recency bias going on there. While he played very well and was a huge compliment to that Denver defense, it wasn't one of those that he was that guy that you could put in there for 3 downs and just go after the quarterback every single time. Those last couple of years, he definitely was come in there and really just try and be the pass rush specialist and not be that defensive anchor on the line that he was down in Dallas. So thinking back to some of that, I think he gets in, but that's why my hesitation's there.
Tell me straight up, that Super Bowl performance that he gave with Von Miller was not arguably one of the best defensive things you've ever seen.
That defense
you
was
bring up
just
my
Two
point.
of them
outstanding.
destroyed.
Yeah, the defense was the only reason we won that Super Bowl because Peyton Manning had half of an arm.
Well,
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So I mean,
But here's the point. Here's
thank
the point
you. I didn't want
bring up.
to be the one to have to say it.
no,
is that
again,
DeMarcus Ware, when he was in Denver, was the benefactor of a prime Von Miller on the other side.
right, 100%.
Hey, but are we going to judge his whole career just off those last few
But
years?
D-Ware in Dallas was an absolute
Right.
Yeah,
force.
I mean, he leads everything for the franchise.
So
Yeah.
Can't-
138 sacks, 654 tackles, 9-time Pro Bowler. I mean,
Hall of Fame resume.
He's a
right
lot
there.
Yeah,
for me.
I don't put him in because of what happened in Denver. I put him in because of what happened early on in Dallas. D. Ware was an absolute. He was a force. You had to.
Beast, man.
Yeah, the DeMarcus Ware conversation on what jersey he wears in the Hall of Fame. I mean, we could debate that like we debate which Hall of Fame jersey Chris Paul will be wearing in the Hall of Fame. I mean, we just don't know. We don't know at this point which
It
one.
doesn't matter in the Football Hall of Fame. They don't put a jersey on.
That's
yet.
very true.
Not
Yeah,
like
just the
baseball
bust.
where they got a cap. Yeah.
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 Let's end our NFL takes and then going right into our top 10 rankings. The last one is one we kind of just started going on a tangent about, and it was Romo versus Rivers. And do they get into the Hall of Fame? I mean, the argument is if one gets in the other, then it was like, no, Romo doesn't have nearly the stats. So let's jump into it, guys, and let's get our final takes on this for tonight, right? For 8-11 right now, without any probably statistical knowledge on the right on the noggin. Is Romo and Rivers Hall of Famers, or is it one or the other? I'm going to start with you, Kevin. Which one
God.
is a Hall of Famer, or which one is not, or both?
oh man, I love Romo, but it'd be Rivers. I mean, if you're going to say both of them wouldn't get in based off of not getting Super Bowls, then whatever, you can do that. But it's gotta be Rivers. It'd be Rivers. Romo's going to have the broadcasting Hall of Fame, and it's going to be Rivers in the Football Hall of Fame.
Okay, Alex.
Okay, so I actually did spend some time while we were chatting looking up
nice.
stats.
Great.
I will tell you this: in the all-time lists for passing yards and for completions and whatnot, Phillip Rivers is in the top 5, 10 in those lists. Tony Romo is nowhere to be found in the top 20. So Rivers gets in. Romo, I think, eventually gets in because people look back on him fondly. But Rivers is, in my opinion, First ballot. And if you want to use he didn't win a Super Bowl, then what the hell is Dan Marino doing in the Hall of Fame?
True.
Yeah.
Dan Marino was an MVP and an All-Pro multiple times, and Philip Rivers was never once either of those things.
He didn't even play in a
8-time Pro Bowler, though.
Marino played in 4.
I don't value Pro Bowls at all, honestly. I know people do. I don't care about the Pro Bowl. It's no offense, it's voted on by the fans. It's a popularity contest.
Mr. Trubisky.
I don't
True.
quantify those.
Hey, you leave Mitch out of this.
God bless.
You shut the hell up. No, I'm just kidding.
He might be a blue-collar athlete soon enough.
Derek, what about you?
Romo, no, I don't think he gets in on the plane, but I think that there's still a route for him to get there through the broadcast booth, right? Like you look at how he does things and how he calls a game and the preparation that he has and all of the things that he brings to the broadcast booth definitely could get him there through that avenue. But for Rivers, there's still a possibility of getting there. I don't know that I agree with Alex's take of a first ballot Hall of Famer, but I think he'll eventually get in off of the statistical results that he put up on the field. He has the longevity, and that's part of that is being able to go out there and play, every single week, every single year, and really be able to put up those type of passing numbers. And when you retire as a top 10, top 5 in a lot of statistical categories that are imperative to your position that we measure success on, outside of Super Bowl wins and those types of things, but just the on-field results to it, there's still a good chance I think he gets in, but I don't know that I agree with first ballot.
All right. And Dre, what about you? How do you see Romo versus Rivers?
Before the show started, when we were debating the pick, I was going to say no to both.
No.
I mean, Rivers is top 10 passing yards, top 5 touchdown passes, top 6 completions. So, I mean, yeah, he didn't make any Super Bowls, but statistical wise, yeah, he has some incredible numbers. So he'll probably make it there. Romo, no, hell no, double hell no. I don't. Yeah, maybe in like 10, 20 years, maybe as you said, as an announcer, but not as a player. Hell no.
Perfect. I think Andrew is left on this take. Andrew, that's your quarterback, man. Well, I heard it from before, but I'll go back to you, Steve. Andrew, what's your take? That's your boy, Romo.
Yeah, no, and I get it. I mean, I totally understand why people would say hell no to that, but I think you got to remember that he was a fucking warrior on an absolutely brutal O-line. This guy played seasons among seasons with fractured ribs, a broken back. I mean, he was in there. I can't remember who we were playing, but I think it was Green Bay in that NFC game where he was literally limping down the field just to try to get the ball going. You can't take away his heart. That's the one thing I'll say about Tony Romo. His heart was all compete all the time, no matter how bad the teams were. So statistically, he's not jumping off the charts. Rivers is definitely, obviously, again, we're talking about top 10 statistics. He's in there for me. It's not even a question. He's not going to be a first ballot. I agree with you in that aspect. I think he's going to have to go through a round or two here. But I definitely would say that Tony Romo makes the game more exciting, man. You watch a broadcast and you guys are all on board with how he plays or how he calls the plays, how well-versed he is, how knowledgeable he is. So, yes, I would say in about 15 to 20 years. And let's not forget, he's learning from Jim Nantz, who's an absolute Hall of Famer as well. So I really look forward to seeing what his career ends up being. But Phil Rivers, yes. Tony Romo, no.
What in the hell is going on here? Philip Rivers is a first ballot Hall of Famer, guys.
I think
he's a stat monster. See, this is the thing. Rivers is the stat monster.
He's a stat monster, but he never.
He's a stat monster. That's it.
See,
this segment is just to troll Alex at this
Holy shit. You all need to go get your heads checked. Go get your damn heads checked.
Errors have changed
so
much.
Who cares? So he played in an era where passing was an option.
Look at the numbers, and Joe Flacco has more passing yards than Joe Montana. You're going to tell me Joe Flacco is better than Joe Montana? If you do, then
Flacco's got a
you
ring.
might want to rethink talking about football.
No, you guys all need to go get your heads checked. Philip Rivers first ballot.
Joe Flacco Hall of Famer?
He's got a ring.
No.
His playoff
Philip Rivers
stats
did
are
it for
unbelievable,
15 years.
by the way.
I think Rivers gets in. I think he gets in
First
eventually.
ballot.
He is not a first
On the
ballot
first
Hall
ballot?
of Famer.
He's,
On the first
I
ballot.
don't. I
You're
don't think
cutting out
I don't
there
even like
because
Rivers
you're
getting
saying
in
he's
because I
going to
don't
get
think
in. And then you're
he's
not
going to get
saying-
in. I don't think Rivers was ever truly a great quarterback. That's my thing. I don't think he was ever
I mean,
truly
yeah,
great.
Rivers couldn't get to a Super Bowl with LaDainian Tomlinson and a top 5 defense.
That
I
defense
love
was
Rivers.
scary good. Sean Merriman. Ooh.
Yeah, they had one of the best defenses and LT.
Who'd they lose to that year?
Who was it that year? Damn it. I don't remember. Tell me.
Okay, but you remember that Philip Rivers and LaDainian Tomlinson played
They
that
lost to
year.
New England both times.
New England both times.
Oh,
yeah.
shoot.
Right,
Tom
yeah.
Brady.
06-07.
A Hall of Famer on the first ballot.
Joe
Oh,
Flacco
weird.
beat Tom Brady. He got to a Super Bowl.
Back, go Joe
Okay,
Flacco.
but like you
Hall of
don't
Famer.
get to the Hall of Fame
No,
because you
no.
lost to
I'm
a
not
first ballot
saying-
Hall of Famer. That just
Yeah.
But here's the problem with that argument, right? When you're talking Super Bowl and you're talking playoff success, things like that, you're talking a team type of
Yeah, do you guys
type of
think wins are a
statistic
quarterback stat?
verse
Yeah,
when you're talking on that, because at that, by that acknowledgement, then you've got guys like Brad Johnson that's won a Super Bowl, and nobody's pounding the table saying that Brad Johnson even needs to be in the Hall of Good. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of quarterbacks that have won that, and when you look at it recently, the teams that win Super Bowls, they don't win it on the big money quarterbacks, the big names in there. Traditionally, Tom Brady's the outlier, but again, he took
I was just
a
going to
lot
say,
of pay
I'm
cuts.
pretty sure they have a pretty big name that's won most of the last few Super
He
Bowls.
took
Right, but
significant
under
pay cuts.
what? It was very certain conditions.
Yeah,
you were playing behind an exceptional defense.
Scab.
You were playing against a quarterback that was not at the top of his position in a pay scale to it, and he was taking team friendly deals in order to put a team around him that was able to go out there and win.
He was playing against a guy who was the league MVP the year before, so I don't think it matters what the pay scale was for the guy that he was playing against. It was because Mahomes.
No, what I'm
still
saying
a
is
contract.
that
he's still an MVP.
What I'm saying is if you have Tom Brady go back and pay him like you've seen all of these quarterbacks now getting paid with these $40 million plus a year deals, you don't see New England put up probably half of those championships.
No, absolutely
Yeah,
not. That's
Flacco,
part of why they were able
Hall
to
of Fame candidate.
do it for so long.
So hold on. Just for clarification, because we got to move on for this, or we're going to do top 10 running backs for the next hour and a half, and I don't think anybody has that kind of time. So before Alex leaves the show, I just want to make sure that you understand. I'm with you, Alex. I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer too, and I thought I was the only one on here that would, because I'm a stats guy. So again, I'm with it, and Steve hates that about me. So I'm with you, okay? I don't want you to think you're by yourself on the
stats
island.
can lie.
No, you hate Philip Rivers. It's fine. Now, when we talk about,
I do
I'm just
kinda
kidding.
I hate
Philip
Philip Rivers too. He spent most of his career in San Diego. I hate the Chargers.
True. So let me, and I know it's not the question on the board. Here's what I'm gonna do, guys. Here's what I'm gonna do. It's gone. Okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. if we're talking about this debate, the big debate we've had before on this show is Eli Manning or Philip Rivers, right? So I don't want to go too far into that, but I just want to ask one question, and I want a thumbs up or thumbs down. Eli Manning, first ballot Hall of Famer.
No.
Oh man,
You're still pissed.
See, I has to be, right?
I mean,
Hey,
he has to be.
When everybody's
First
done
ballot?
here today, go look at all of the all-time NFL records for quarterbacks, all time, and then tell me who on that list is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. Just look at the top 20.
All right. So wait. All right.
Get back to me.
So Eli Manning's a first ballot Hall of Famer, right? Okay.
Yes.
But
Yes.
why is Eli
Yes.
Manning in the
Has
Hall
to
of Fame? Is it because of his
wouldn't
two
he be?
Super Bowls? It can't be because of his stats. It's because of his
It
two
is
Super
because
Bowls.
He's got stats too.
He's got stats
Eli Manning
too.
was good. Why does everyone act like Eli Manning only has 2
Eli
Super Bowl
Manning
rings?
was
Because he was a
but
500 quarterback.
But he never led the league in yards. He never led the league in touchdowns. But he lead the league. Sorry, in interceptions several times.
Okay,
So if Eli
Peyton
Manning's
Manning
going in
has
the Hall of
rookie record
Fame,
for
Favre.
interceptions.
So did
He's
Brett
not a Hall of
Favre.
Famer.
Favre has the
but you
most
just told me
interceptions.
wins are not a QB stat.
Brett
They're
Favre
not.
leads- Brett Favre leads the NFL all time in picks, and he's in the Hall of
I mean, dude, if
First
anything,
ballot, no less.
The Hall of Fame isn't a stat
Brett
game. I mean,
Favre,
Brett Favre's in it.
won
He
3
doesn't
straight
have the
MVPs and a
flash
Super
stats.
Bowl. That's a little
Okay, and
different than Eli
won 2
Manning.
Super Bowls.
Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls. What's the
And has better
argument?
stats than Brett
And
Favre.
has
You
a
just
ton of
said
stats.
you just said wins out of QB stat. I
Here's how I-
was just told that. That doesn't have to do with the quarterback.
Eli Manning is top 10 all time in yards and touchdowns. Okay,
Yes.
which is an individual stat. Okay, there's one. He
Mhm.
also overall had a rating of 84.1, which would be the lowest rating for any quarterback ever to make the Hall of Fame. That would be also a true fact. So
Horrible teams that he played at the end, though.
I know,
Horrible
yeah.
teams.
fair, right? The Giants were
Horrific.
terrible, right? Giants were terrible. So if we're gonna take all the team stats out of it, I think the individual part of it and the 2 Super Bowl rings mixed together, and with his highlights against Tom Brady,
Mhm.
it would put him first ballot. And that's just because I have Phillip Rivers first ballot. Also, it only makes sense that Eli Manning was first ballot too. So for my own argument,
Yeah, I mean, there's guys
I mean-
with less Super Bowls and worse stats in it, so why would he not?
Right. No, I get all of that. Here's where it kind of comes down to me is the fact that when you look at these guys and you take over the years that they played, are any one of those guys that would you put them as top 3, top 4 in the era that they played in for quarterbacks at their position?
No, and thank you. That is my
That's
point.
that's why I'm saying that I don't see them as first
top
ballot.
6
Why-
we're looking at an
why
era
are
right
we-
now. Yeah, why are we? Yeah,
Why are we cutting
what
off
an
3 and 4,
arbitrary
though?
number.
Yeah.
We're in an
So
era right now where there are 5 Hall of
because
Fame
that's what
quarterbacks
a first
playing
ballot
right now.
Hall of Famer is, though. A first ballot Hall of Famer is you were the greatest.
But if you take
This
that
is
logic right
this
there,
is the
if you take that,
greatest players ever.
I know,
You're
but if
talking
you take
about
that,
the first ballot Hall of Famer. These guys would never, like he
I'm
said,
so
top
glad you
3,
don't have
top
a
5
hold the
at
phone
their
though,
position
because
ever.
the era that you're talking about, like, let's take right now then. Right,
Yeah.
last subject of conversation because we really need to move on. But if you take right now, top 3 or 4 is who, and you say the rest are not first ballot Hall of Famers.
So, but I think that can be held true on any position or group, not
No.
just
Okay,
the
no,
not
no,
quarterbacks.
no,
Not quarterbacks.
And
need
the
to
other
know,
thing
because
that I think you
Russ-
also have to
Russ
take
is not
into
top
account
3
is
right now.
like here's this. So Phillip Rivers and Drew Brees are retiring on the same ballot, right?
Yeah, both of them.
Right,
are in.
they're both retired as of this year.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably not both going to go in the same year. They're going to put in Drew Brees before they put in Phillip Rivers.
But why does it
That
have to
is
be one or the other?
Accurate.
Why does it have to be one or the other?
Because typically they only
They
go
have
1%
limited
through the
amounts, and they're going to put in
quarterbacks.
older players, guys who have been on the list. It's the way that the voters. It's the way that
That's
the
a good
voting
point.
works half the
Actually,
time.
that is a good point.
They're not going to put him in the same ballot as Drew Brees because then the
No.
voters are going to look at that as like,
But
are we saying Phillip Rivers was
circle back
like the
with me
same
here, though.
level as Drew Brees in his career?
Okay,
And
running
like,
backs.
Circle back with me here. Last point though. Right now,
Drew
Brady,
Bledsoe.
Mahomes, and Rodgers, and everybody else is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. Are we on the same page with that?
Somebody get
I
Alex
I mean,
to
it's the
You can't-
logic. That's the logic.
Well,
No Russ.
well, we can't say that Mahomes is a first ballot Hall of Famer right now because Mahomes, right now, if he retired right now, has the exact same resume as Joe Theismann, who is not in the Hall of Fame. So, no, Mahomes right now is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. He could be someday, but if he retired right now, he's not. Brady and Rodgers, yes, both first ballot Hall of Famers.
Yeah, let's move on to running backs. We'll end with that take. Top 10 fantasy running backs is where we're going to move to this. Guys, we're doing it David Letterman style, and we're going to go around the room. Let's start it off. Top 10 fantasy running backs. Half-point PPR is what we did the scale for. If you need to adjust your rankings, please let me know. Number 10, we'll start off with the guest first. Derek, we'll start with you.
I got Nick Chubb.
Chubb at 10. Alex.
Hold on, I got to pull my rankings up. You caught me off guard. I'm still
You're good.
fuming.
Kevin.
Zeke. Zeke at 10.
Zeke at 10
Wow.
for Kevin. Drake.
Gibson.
He is going Gibson. Let's go Andrew.
James Robinson.
Ooh, wow. That is getting an asterisk, and we'll readdress
Yeah,
that.
it is.
Steve.
Who?
I didn't prepare for this fight at all, dude.
You are good. We're going to go triple T's after this. Everybody stay tuned for that with Steve. He's been fuming as well. All right. Number 10, Alex.
Alex, I got your list if you need it.
I had Eckler.
Eckler
still
at number
playing,
10. Yeah, he's still there.
He's out there.
Let's run backwards. Andrew, number 9.
Yeah, I had Eckler at 9.
Eckler at 9. That is not getting an asterisk. Drake.
J.K. Dobbins. Yep.
That is definitely getting an asterisk. Let's go, Derek.
I got Jonathan Taylor at 9.
Taylor at 9. Kevin.
Austin Eckler.
Eckler. And I just realized I never gave mine. Alex.
Jones.
Aaron Jones. For those on the podcast listening. All right, my number 10, Joe Mixon. Number 10, Joe Mixon for me. Aaron Jones, number 9 for me. So Alex had that one right. I'm just kidding. I'm not the answer key. All right, number 8, I'm going Alvin Kamara. That's my shocker on my list. Is Alvin Kamara down at number 8. All right, Kevin, what's number 8 for you?
Jonathan Taylor.
Taylor at 8. Derek.
I've got Austin Eckler at 8.
Eckler is at 8. Alex.
Nick Chubb.
Chubb jumps up to 8 on Alex's list. Drake.
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones at number 8 there. A little bit of a homer pick. Andrew.
Aaron Jones.
Jones there. So Jones making a surprise appearance there. Andrew circling right back to you. Number 7.
Ezekiel Elliott.
Zeke makes an appearance on Andrew's list at 7. Dre.
Jonathan Taylor.
He's going Taylor there. No shocker on my list. Alex.
Zeke.
Zeke at 7 for Alex. Derek.
I got Derrick Henry at 7.
Henry at 7. That's
like
getting
that.
a little bit of an but I like it. Kevin.
Nick Chubb.
Chubb makes an appearance on Kevin's list at number 7 for ITL. Austin Eckler. Eckler made it to the top at 7 there for me. I'm going to put an asterisk on it. All right. Number 6 for me is Chubb. Chubb made top 6 for me. Kevin.
Aaron Jones.
Jones making it high on Kevin's list. Derek.
Number 6 was where we're at. I've got Antonio Gibson, number 6.
Ooh, Gibson up there. I'm going to put an asterisk just to revisit on that one. Alex.
Jonathan Taylor.
Taylor making his appearance up on his list. Drake.
Kamara.
Kamara for Dre. Andrew.
Mr. Gibson.
Gibson as well. Andrew, circle back with you at 5.
We are going Derrick Henry at 5.
Henry at 5 there for Andrew. Dre.
Edwards.
Edwards?
Chiefs.
Oh, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with CEH. I don't think anybody's ever said Edwards to me before. I'm with it though. Alex.
Kamara.
I was like, Gus Edwards still plays? Derek.
I thought for sure that my CEH pick here would get an asterisk too, but I'm right there with you, Dre. I've got CEH number 5.
Kevin.
Kamara.
Kamara top 5. I have Saquon Barkley at 5 for my list. Number 4 is Derrick Henry for me. Kevin.
Saquon Barkley.
He's going Barkley. Derek.
I've got Zeke, number 4.
Zeke makes top 4 for Derek. Alex.
Saquon.
Barkley is there. Drake.
Dalvin Cook.
Cook makes top 4 for Dre's list. Andrew.
Kamara.
Kamara makes top 4 for Andrew. All right, number 3, Andrew, right back to you.
That is. Hold on, my list just disappeared. Oh no, come back to me.
All right, Dre.
I'm gonna do a Kenny, so I'll go with Chubb here.
Chubb making top 3. Andrew.
Yeah, I had Chubb at 3.
Chubb as well. Chubb making a big appearance here. Alex.
At 3, Derrick Henry.
Henry cracking the top 3 on Alex's list. Derek.
Dalvin Cook.
Cook making the top 3. Kevin.
Derrick Henry.
Henry cracking his top 3. I have Christian McCaffrey at 3. There's a shocker for my list. Christian McCaffrey is 3. Number 2 for me, could have guessed it, Ezekiel Elliott makes number 2 for me. Kevin.
Dalvin Cook.
Cook makes number 2 for Kevin. Derek.
I've got Alvin Kamara, number 2.
Kamara makes his number 2. Alex.
Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook at 2. Dre.
McCaffrey.
CMC making an appearance at number 2 for Dre. Andrew.
Dalvin Cook.
Cook there. Andrew, give me your number 1 overall pick.
Sam Darnold's going to have a heyday with Christian McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm.
Christian McCaffrey there for Andrew. Dre.
Henry, number 1.
Henry, number 1, having a big season on the ground. Alex.
CMC.
CMC makes number 1 there. Derek.
DMC.
Can't go wrong with CMC. Kevin.
Yeah, CMC.
CMC there as well. I think Cook has a repeat performance, finishes number 1 overall. So Dalvin Cook ranks 1 on my list. Let's revisit this, guys. We have a lot of asterisks, and we're going to take these last 6 minutes to dissect a little here and there. All right, so let's look at a couple that we had, right? Austin Eckler for me was at number 7. I think Eckler for a lot of people might have been outside the top 10 or towards bottom. I love what they're doing in what are they now? Los Angeles? They're not San Diego anymore, right? Yes, Los Angeles.
Yeah, Los Angeles.
I think he's going to be a dual threat god again, as long as he stays healthy. I think that's the big thing, but there's no competing with Austin Eckler in Los Angeles. I'm going to circle over to yours, Derek, right? You had Antonio Gibson up there. You had him at number 6. You have Derrick Henry down at 7. Why are you down on Henry, and why are you up on Gibson?
So a lot of it has to do with the fact that when you look at workloads in previous, right? 370 carries is a magical number when you talk about running backs. There's only been one running back in the past 40 years that has seen a similar or bigger workload after having 370 rush attempts in a single season. That was Eric Dickerson way back when, right before many of us were ever even started thinking fantasy football was a thing. So you'll see a regression as far as workload goes. And if you're talking half point PPR, right, the passing work just isn't there. The Titans have needed to have an extremely efficient offense in order to do what they do. And that's something that I don't know that they're going to be able to keep up that peak efficiency this year. You may see some things where they shift that a little bit. Arthur Smith's no longer the offensive coordinator. So they bring in Julio Jones. I think you'll see maybe a little bit more balanced attack this year than what we've seen in the past from a run pass type of balance there. So that has a lot to do with it. Derrick Henry is still a beast and will still do amazing things. But hang on real quick. I've got him closer to about 324 rush attempts this year. So that's one of the big things that's gonna knock that down for me is the fact that he's going to be at about 1,500 type of rushing yards for me instead of over 2,000.
Okay. All right. Well, that would significantly drop his point total. I think that if you're looking at that many carries with that many points, it probably drops it down close to 70 points. Let's try and do the math in my head fast, but that's quite a bit. Alex, I'm gonna circle over to you, right? I don't have any huge asterisks, but you did have Aaron Jones towards the bottom and Zeke further down, but you're high on Taylor, right? You're high on Taylor, and you're high on the Indianapolis Colts. So talk to me. What is Jonathan Taylor going to do?
I like what they're doing there in Indianapolis. You bring in Carson Wentz, who can play in a pro style. That pro style offense, play action is a big deal. So I think that is going to help keep everybody honest on the defense. And I will say this, for as much as I love Carson Wentz, his most successful games, the games that they win, he's 25 pass attempts and under. Yeah. So running the football is a premium there. And Frank Reich understands that and was around Carson Wentz in his what should have been an MVP season. And so running the football will be an emphasis in Indy.
So for Jonathan Taylor truthers and for people who see him on the board, right? You're drafting, he's there. It's 4 running backs have gone off, right? He's the first one on your list. Marlon Mack scare you at all of taking workload? Is that an issue?
Not really. That ACL injury is probably. Yeah,
it was an Achilles.
No,
Naheem Hines should scare you more than
Hines.
I mean, either anybody in the backfield, right?
In the reception game, Hines is killing it.
Does that worry you at all of taking away some of that fantasy upside ceiling? No. Stick with it. All right. I love that. Kevin, let me circle back to you though. You had Zeke at 10. Right. Yeah. So that's down there for a lot of probably a lot of Cowboys fans who really hate that. But why Zeke so low? I mean, he's obviously to most the workhorse there. Are you worried about Pollard? Is that why?
No, their defense was ranked 21st, 22nd, 23rd last year. They didn't do anything to get better on defense. You got Dak Prescott coming back, who's going to play the CD Lamb a little bit, open up the outside. The passing game's going to be there. And that offensive line, we don't even know how that's going to be still. Coming back from injuries, getting them back. I could just see this being the kind of the cliff for Zeke.
Oof.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not a big Zeke truth. I've never been a big Zeke truther, though. I mean, I'm not saying a cliff, but just with
You said
with everything.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, dude, you don't want to pull a Kellerman and say cliff here.
No, not Max Kellerman.
Peak.
But his peak, perhaps, just with because everything was going right when he was having these dominant years. Like their offensive line was just tearing it up. Their defense was playing pretty decent. Now that defense is falling apart. The O-line, for me, we don't know how good they'll be when they get back from injuries. And yeah, you got CD Lamb and Amari Cooper and Dak coming back. I mean, you're going to be behind in a lot of games, and they're going to have to start passing their ass off. And
so it's a bit of the Henry situation too, right? More weapons means more ball spreading, less opportunity. I'm with you.
I just feel like they're just going to be playing from behind a lot, and they're going to have to pass it a lot.
Let's end tonight's show with some hot takes. We had a J.K. Dobbins sighting and a James Robinson sighting, so I'm going to give you guys 30-second spots here. Dre, why Dobbins at 9?
I mean, I gave the same pick 2 weeks ago, and I mean that offense the Ravens have a great offensive line. Lamar Jackson, we know that's a running team. J.K. Dobbins is coming into his own. Ingram is gone, so that backfield is his, and he can also do all of the 3 downs. He's got great hands, so I mean. PPR, J.K. Dobbins, yeah, that's it. He's a dump off, so he'll be great.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you're sleeping on that and you see J.K. Dobbins' name on the board, that gives you every reason to try to take a chance. Andrew, wrap us up here, 30 seconds. James Robinson hits your top 10. Tell me why.
Yeah, I just don't think Travis Etienne is there yet, man. I think he had a really rough second half of college football, and I think right now James Robinson had an outstanding undrafted year. And he did, let's face it, he didn't have a quarterback that knew how the hell to do anything. So this year he's got Trevor Lawrence in the fold who can actually hit somebody out of the backfield, which will be nice to see. And James Robinson in the PPR league last year was 4th overall? So, I mean, give me James Robinson this year. I think it will be one of those hot shot years, but I think he's there in the top 10.
Beautiful, beautiful. I was the only one that had Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon believers, don't give up faith. I believe he has that year this year. Finally, he stays healthy, makes the whole year happen. Joe Mixon finishes top 10 for me. That's it, guys, for our football segment. I appreciate everybody coming out and giving your top 10 lists. And we're going to have these featured and put these rankings out there so you guys can vote and take a look and spread that awareness. Before we say goodnight, though, we have the guy who has been chilling on the screen. He's going to do triple T's with Steve. That's right. Steve Reisner is going to wrap us up with some laughs and give us the most terrible takes of the week. Triple T's with Steve. Tell us, Steve, what is happening in your mind? And if you even mention Phillip Rivers' first ballot, I'm going to kick you off and mute you, just so you know.
I don't have that. No, I don't have that. That's not a terrible take. That's a take I disagree with.
All right, so, Steve, light us up tonight. Let's do it.
Now, so first up, I got so we had Dennis Schroeder signing with the Celtics. I don't know if you guys saw him post this picture on Instagram, wearing number 17, that's his number. He probably didn't realize number 17 is retired here for John Havlicek. So we had. Do you think the Celtics will unretire John Havlicek's number so Dennis Schroeder can wear it? I think they should. John Havlicek is the all-time leading fucking scorer for the Celtics. I'm not even sure how many rings he's got. It's probably 5 or something because he was playing in the 60s. It's probably more than 5. No, they are not unretiring their all-time leading scorer's number for a guy they just signed on a 1-year, $5 million fucking deal.
Which I would like to just jump in and say, this is where gambling on yourself sometimes, kids, doesn't pay off. He had a 4-year, $84 million contract extension offer from the LA Lakers, and he declined it and got a $5 million 1-year contract. Ooh.
Yeah, he probably should have taken the bag.
You think?
Terrible take number 3 of the week. What's number 2, Steve?
Well, number 2, I had this was actually from a week ago, a few days ago. It was a Lakers fan saying that the Celtics are going to do a sign and trade and send them Marcus Smart and at least one first-round pick for Dennis Schroeder. And the Lakers fans just like extremely overvalue every player that's on their team. It's crazy what they think their players can fetch for them. Then I've got that Kirk Cousins is better than Tom Brady. Or has been in football.
Before we leave here, or
if you think that, you're no longer entitled to an opinion on the game of
Who do you
football.
follow on Twitter?
oh my god, these
Dude,
people.
these pop up and then like you find these threads that like like all right, there's gonna be someone stupid in here, and you just go reading the thread and like you give yourself brain AIDS.
Hashtag brain AIDS.
I have Larry
The name of the
Bird's
episode.
shooting is very overrated aspect of his game. No, Larry Bird is not an overrated shooter. He's one of the best shooters ever. If you're 12 years old and you've never seen Larry Bird play, there's plenty of highlights on YouTube. Everyone has access to it. It's really easy. And then this last one was just, I just thought it was funny because it was, I believe it was a Lakers fan. It's usually a Lakers fan.
Kenneth Cotterill.
Tatum hates Boston. That's why he added the player option to the end of his contract. Yeah. Tatum hates Boston. That's why before his rookie deal was even up, he signed an extension to stay in Boston for another 4 or 5 years. The longest extension he could sign with the team. Yeah. That's how much he hates Boston. Yeah. People are fucking morons.
Shout out Kenny Cotterill for your fan base. So we appreciate you greatly. This is what provides us entertainment. That's Triple
Oh,
T's
he knows how I feel about his fan base.
plus 2 with Steve. Thanks for sharing that, Steve. I mean, keep the terrible Twitter takes coming. That's what keeps us going. It provides us the entertainment and laughs. Guys, I couldn't have had this show possible without all of you being here tonight. So thank you guys so much for joining. I'm going to go one by one for all the Lapsters and Blue Collar Media Group people following this show and watching and listening. Let's go with our guest first. Derek, talk to us. Derek and Alex, how do we find you guys? How does our viewers and listeners go listen to you guys? Because I definitely want to spread the love.
Alex, you want me to take the reins on that one?
You always do, buddy.
Okay. He makes fun of me for my sign-offs more often than not. But anyway, here we go. So you can follow us at, there we go, at goodoldboys.com is the website. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Good Old Boys FF. We've got the YouTube channel, Good Old Boys. All right, so that's the fantasy football, or the fantasy, wow, the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast. Got a ton of player videos going up there every single day. You'd think I would have that mastered by now, as many times as I say it.
We are in year 3.
Next time I'm gonna just have you take the ad read there, buddy.
We'll get it next time.
Yeah,
How about you with the ad read, Alex?
Well, Alex,
Let's have you do it real quick.
Yeah, Alex, tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find us on at Good Old Boys FF on Twitter. Derek normally does all this, so I don't actually know. GoodOldBoysFF.com. That's a fun one. We just launched that website not too long ago.
He leans back for the read. I love it. That's teamwork right there. Kevin, I'm not going to do the last name. You know what? Desmero. Is that close?
Desormo.
Disarmo. Yeah,
It's
Disarmo.
French. Yeah.
Disarmo.
That's Italian.
That's
Oh,
Italian.
damn it.
Yeah, good choice.
No, it's Italian. Yeah, so just starting my new show, On the Field Pod. On Twitter, though, I had to do On the Field Show. So you got to go to On the Field Show. I'm on Twitch on the Field Pod. And me personally, Big Hero Kevin. And yeah, I look forward to it. Just had a test launch on your Twitter last week. So yeah, we'll be launching that. I think our first official launch will be August 22nd, doing the BCMG fantasy football draft. So look forward to that.
Yeah, Blue Collar and Friends draft. I'm excited for that, Kevin. And
Mhm.
you know what? Shout out to you, man. You had your debut episode over 850 views. That's fantastic, man.
Thank you. Yeah,
Congratulations.
it was a good time.
Big kudos to you. All right, Dre Rogers, give us the life of Dre. How do we find you?
Oh, God.
Congrats to Kevin on that accomplishment. That's pretty cool, man.
Thank you,
Very
man.
cool.
And yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Dre2124. But you can follow my extraordinary adventures, according to Ernest, on
They are
Instagram
fantastic.
at Dre2125.
I mean, this
No,
guy is.
I'm actually gonna vouch that. I don't have
Yeah.
Instagram. I don't look at Instagram. That ain't my thing. I have Twitter.
Dre
That's the
never
only
skips
social
arm day,
media I do.
Rogers.
I'm
I
telling you right
have
now.
made people at work when I'm bored and they're looking at Instagram. I have made people pull up Dre's Instagram,
It's
and
phenomenal.
we've just spent time just like hanging out on the roof at work, smoking cigarettes.
He's on top of a volcano
Just
one
like-
day.
Yeah,
He's-
nuts.
he's-
Yeah, just
he's
like
in a-
looking at
he's on a
Dre's
beach,
Instagram.
he's
People are like, how
snorkeling
the
with
fuck
dolphins.
do you know this guy? I'm like,
I
he's
don't
just
even know what
Dre.
Dre
Let's not
does
ask
for a living.
questions.
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Andrew Con Sutton.
Yeah, you betcha. You can find me at the Boomtown Pod. Of course, you can find us on Facebook at the Boomtown Pod. All things MMA. I haven't released a podcast. I'm so sorry. In like 3 weeks, awful of me. And usually I'm pretty on this, but I've been really busy with work, and we're gearing up for an awesome retreat. Which, if you haven't heard yet, we are doing a live stream, live reaction event, August 21st. Jared Cannonier versus Kelvin Gastelum. It's going to be an incredible fight, and me and the boys are going to be sitting around having a couple cervezas. Going to be watching the fights and giving you some instant reaction live from the living room. So it's going to be a ton of fun. Looking forward to actually meeting everybody out there and getting the fuck out of Canada. So can't wait to see you guys then. But again, follow me on Twitter at the Boomtown Pod.
Andrew Con Sutton, everybody, excited to have you on. Boy, am I going to end with that. So we'll touch that in just a second. Steve, the General Reisner, a fantastic, always co-host of the show. Steve, give everybody where they can find you.
You can find me. It says it right there on the screen now. At Rasner_Steven on Twitter. That's all I got for social media. As I was just saying, it's the only
Let's
one I've
check
been
mark
able
the
to figure
general.
out. I'm at that point. You know how like they say like when you get older, like you don't make like new friends. Like like when you get older, you don't figure out new social media shit. And, I'm getting older.
I don't even know how to respond to that. Guys, Andrew did a good job.
I just say things like I don't really think before I say shit. I just
The BCMG
Love it.
retreat is August 19th through 23rd in South Texas. Guys, 20 of us are going to be down there, 12 different shows, 4 more streamers attached to that, and a bunch of great help. We are excited to be down there. We're going to have live shows for ITL's Hoopathon, which is a huge donation stream next Saturday. We have the Boomtown Pod next Saturday night. We have Call Your Shot, which is going to have 3 mini episodes featuring our draft order. We have On the Field with the live draft featuring Blue Collar and Friends Fantasy League. We are excited about this retreat. It's going to be tons of fun, tons of action, and all live. So excited you guys join us next week. Tune in, and if you can, donate for a great cause. We're trying to send some high school athletes to college for those in some of our not as fortunate neighborhoods down in South Texas. So join us.
Boys, you can just Venmo me now for it.
On it.
I'm your host, Ernest Docky Silva at the Sport Jeans. My personal handle is not active. At Into the Lab Pod, which is where you're watching us, is where to go. We appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Good luck with everything. If you're betting early preseason, we don't recommend it, but good luck if you're trying to do that. Go have some fun. Watch some Summer League, I guess. I don't think that's a thing. But hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next week.